Good evening, Rodney. Good evening, whoever's watching this. I just got out of a meeting. Tomorrow I'll have 10 months. Proud of myself. I got to think in that meeting more than anything. I mean, today's Just for Today was about, or spiritual principle a day was about unconditional love. And as I heard people share, and then I shared about what I'm wondering it is, I thought about it. I don't think I've ever loved myself with conditions. Like I don't think I've ever said I'll love myself if I either didn't love myself or I'm starting to love myself. I don't know. I think when I think of the words unconditional love, I think of my higher power, and I think of my relationship with my children. Like, I'm not going to love them less if they don't clean, and I'm not going to love them less if they clean more. And I know love is an action, it's not a feeling. Love has always, in relationships, been associated with the honeymoon phase, and sex, and things. But it's, when I think about how my higher power loves me, how God loves me, I know that's unconditionally. I don't think that my higher power has ever loved me any less now that I look back. I think my higher power has always been there for me. That's unconditional love. And when I'm in my worst of places and I lean on my higher power is seeing me. That's when I'm really connected to God. You know, when I'm praying for this to end, or for it to get better, or for somebody else. That's when I feel really connected to my higher power. Like, especially when, like, it was day one and I had nothing but my higher power. You know, I had things like my kids, and I still have my job, but I almost lost that, and I could have lost them, and could have lost my place and all that stuff. And all I had left to turn to was my higher power, and my higher power delivered. I think about it like when I've had relationships end, where I've said the phrase, after all that I've, and then whatever, all that I've done, all that I've given, all that, you know, all the time that I put in, well, that's not unconditional love. That means it's conditional love. Like, how could you if I gave you, or how could you if I did? That's conditional love. I think that I was in an experience not too long ago where I felt that I was giving unconditional love, and I think I was, because it wasn't like, oh, after all that, I just, you know, learned acceptance and faith and all that stuff, or learned to use it through that, and I got through it, and so I believe there was unconditional love there. So that's that. But after all that, then I started thinking about a conversation I had with somebody, and they felt like I was projecting. And maybe I was. And it made me think about, like, why I do that. I think, you know, now that I've had a little bit of time to think, I think if I feel judged in any way, and I can, you know, somebody can be coming from a place of love, and they can point out something, and if it's just enough of it, then I'll start defending myself or explaining myself, and if I start doing that, I start getting uncomfortable, and I feel like my back is up against a wall, and I don't even realize I'm projecting then at that point. And, you know, I'd like to believe that I don't have to explain myself to anybody, but I do believe that people want an explanation for things, and there are times I don't want to give that, or I give it because I feel like I need to explain myself. And I don't think I want, well, I know I don't want to have to be in a situation where I have to explain myself. But at the same time, or have to explain other people's actions. And I think that what it'll do is it'll kick in my subconscious, and then I'll just start acting out on character defects. Now I'm mad about $20 that I couldn't find, and I'm mad about I forgot my headphones to go to the gym, and I'm mad about I don't have enough time to work out, because maybe what was brought to my attention was that I should be at home right now, or I should be doing this, or this person should be doing that, or any of that stuff for that matter. This, you know, I've been living this routine for a while, and it's been working for me, and having to explain it makes me feel uncomfortable. And I don't, maybe I feel like I shouldn't have to explain myself. And so because I'm doing something I feel like I shouldn't have to be doing, it makes me feel uncomfortable. And then I'll project. And it's good for me to sit back and think and realize that that's what's going on. Because what'll happen is I won't acknowledge it, I won't realize it, and then I'll just continue to, then I'll just become a straight shithead. And I don't want that either. But I'm also in this process of learning how to be. Like, what is a healthy relationship for me? I don't know. I don't. What is a healthy relationship with myself? Well, I feel like I have one, but is it healthy enough? Is it ever going to be healthy enough? And when I say enough, then it makes me think about my higher power. And if I'm in a situation where I'm starting to doubt if I'm doing good enough, or if I'm doing enough, or if I'm doing the right things, or if this isn't good enough, or if that isn't good enough, then it's creating an unmanageability that it then will create shame and guilt. And ultimately, I'll do the go-to of, well, at least it ain't dope. And that's not good either. I didn't come into this thing to just get clean. I came into this thing to get better. Am I better right now than where I was 10 months ago? Exactly. 100%. Am I doing good enough? Yes. Because I have to finish that sentence with, am I doing good enough for my higher power? Yes. Can I do more? Sure. Will I do more? Well, as long as I continue to stay on this track, then more is going to be on the table. Little by little, things will change. My relationship with my kids is better than it was 10 months ago. My relationship with my work is better than it was 10 months ago. Now, the reason I use the word 10 months ago is because tomorrow I'll have 10 months. But 10 months ago was day one. And day one was so fucked up. Day one, I was a few months away, maybe days, maybe weeks, from losing my job, my house, my cars, and then ultimately my kids. And maybe being on the streets, or who knows what. And what I've done in the last 9 months and 30 days is something I didn't think I could accomplish. So I have to give myself enough, I have to be in the middle of truth and grace to give myself the unconditional love. Treat myself the way my higher power would treat me. Treat others the way my higher power treats me, and be able to acknowledge, okay, what's going on here? Okay, here's what's going on here. And I wouldn't have this thought process if it wasn't for recovery, if it wasn't for the work that I've put in. Being able to be aware, self-aware, is important for me right now, because I could easily fall back and say, well, it's not enough, and I need to do this much, and there's all these things that need to change, but they're not going to change overnight. But if I go back 10 months, I'm in the room today getting loaded while the kids are doing whatever. And that's not going to happen today. There's other things like, I didn't quite get where I wanted to be at work. There's certain areas of my life that feel not complete. But tomorrow I'll hang with my sister, and I'm going to take the kids out of the house and go to this park where they can get in the water and I can connect with my sister, and my kids will be able to get out of the house, which will be good for them. I think what's going on is certain things have been pointed out in my life where I felt a little less than, and enough of it has been pointed out to me that now I'm trying to compare to like this level of perfection that I'm not right now. And I think that's what I need to really focus on. Like, maybe that's what's bothering me, and I didn't realize it, because maybe I was projecting and I didn't realize it until now. When I think back and I just have this self-awareness, and I'm like, okay, what's going on? Let's figure it out. Okay, I'm explaining a lot, and now I'm doing more than explaining. So let's take a step back. What's led up to it? Let's go back further. Then I realize, okay, I'm explaining more than I'd like to, and I'm unable to provide a good enough explanation. So then my go-to is, well, it's going to get better. And if that answer isn't good enough, then I'm just going to start acting like a shithead. And so maybe I need to focus on that and ask myself, is this an area of my life that I feel is creating unmanageability? I don't know. I do know this. Tomorrow I'll have 10 months. I'm helping my daughter get a car on Monday. I'm taking my kids to the park tomorrow. I'm going to hang out with my sister, who I haven't seen in a while. And I'll probably go in the house and answer 2 questions of the step work guide. So I got to give myself enough grace here so I don't feel like I'm inadequate or a good enough father, or, or my house is good enough, or, my kids are doing good enough, or any of that stuff, because I think I find myself falling into that category of like, well, you're not good enough here now, and you're not good enough here now, and you're not good enough here now, when the reality is I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be right now, and everything is happening exactly the way it's supposed to be happening. And, you know, I've been able to get my head above water, and I can easily pull my head back down into the water, because I start pointing out, or I start seeing areas of my life that isn't quite where it needs to be. That's not saying that they don't need work. What it's saying is I'm still early in this, early enough in this to where I can say, well, shit, man, maybe you're not good enough. And I'm always going to be good enough for my higher power. And the only thing I need validation from, even though I seek the validation of others, is my higher power. If I just lean on that, knowing that my higher power gives me the proper validation I need, well, then it's okay. I'm never going to meet a person's expectations, and a person is never going to meet my expectations. I'm always going to fail in some form or another when it comes to people. And if I seek the validation of people and I put that above the validation of my higher power, well, then I'm never going to be good enough for myself either. And being able to acknowledge this is that unconditional love that I got to give myself. Love with no conditions. Being able to say that, hey, you're doing great. You're good enough. And it's okay. And everything is going to work out. May not work out the way I want it to work out, but it's working out so much better than it was. You know, and the way I laugh with Lucy now, the conversations I have with Lainey now, and the way Grayson is now giving me love shows that I'm on the right track, but I'm still on track. Like I say a lot, you can't walk in the woods, 100 feet and expect to get out in 20. And I can't walk into the woods for most of my life and expect to get out in 9 months. There is a lot still to do, but I've also done a lot in these 10 months basically, because it's now in 5 minutes it'll be 10 months. In 5 minutes, that will have been the day that I decided that I'm not going to get loaded again. And in 5 minutes, I will have made 10 months. And instead of thinking 10 months is it ain't shit, I can think that like it's been a lot. I've had a lot on my plate. Not to say it's more than somebody else, but I've had a lot on my plate. If I had to go back and do it all over again, I can, it's hard for me to say that I would be able to do it exactly the same way. I wouldn't want to, but I'm grateful that I did. And more importantly, I love myself enough to know that there's going to be good days, there's going to be bad days, and sometimes there's going to be a good day where it's a bad night, or it's going to be a bad day with a good night. It doesn't mean that like the full 24 hours or 18 hours or whatever it is that I'm up is going to run smooth and it's going to run great. But I'm not loaded, and I'm not going to pick up tonight. And so I'm going to go lay down with them, and I know that I can fall asleep and wake up clean, which is a far cry from where it was 10 months ago. 10 months ago, I was up till I heard the fucking birds and the sky was turning blue again. I saw this video of Biden and Trump debating, and how Biden was talking a certain way during that debate. And my heart went out to him, because that's like what I was talking like when I was on, 2 days of no sleep, no nourishment, and I was getting loaded. And how everybody laughed at him, and including me. I thought, man, that's a tough one. But I also felt like, I remember walking down the stairs and I was mumbling like that, and seeing that it's like the year anniversary of that debate reminded me of like where I was when that happened, um, where my headspace was when that happened. The joke that I made, like, oh, fuck, man, he must be on the same shit as me when that happened. And how, like, I'm so far from that today. And everything is going exactly the way it's supposed to. It's all working out. So that's a long share, but I needed to get that off my chest. All of it, really. So I don't know what I'm going to title this. Maybe I'll just call it another journal entry. Or maybe I'll just call it self-awareness. Good night.